Individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff.
Yeah, but so there's still, I mean, it's crazy too because there's still more happening in court. Like, I mean, everything is still active even though we're not hearing about it as much anymore. And the people may be fatigued like we talked about prior to.
In one of the most shocking twists of this year, seeing Diddy Combs, who has been a major player in the world of music and entertainment for decades, now finds himself at the center of a scandal that could completely unravel his career. The recent allegations against him are jaw-dropping. And if they turn out to be true, they could bring down not just Diddy, but some of the biggest names in Hollywood with him. At the heart of this scandal is a man named Courtney Burgess, a former close associate of Diddy, who has come forward with claims that could change everything we know about the music mogul.
A U.S. judge has ruled that the rapper and producer Sean Diddy Combs will stand trial on federal trafficking and racketeering charges in May. He'll be held in prison until then. Sean Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges that he used his business empire to transport women and male workers across state lines to take part in recorded sexual performances. If convicted, he could face a life sentence.
Burgess didn't just come out of nowhere. His connection to Diddy runs deep, and his testimony has already sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry. He claims to hold a series of flash drives that contain recordings from Diddy's infamous parties that were rumored to be wild and untamed, but may have been far worse than anyone could have imagined. These flash drives, according to Burgess, contain footage that is both disturbing and incriminating, not only for Diddy, but for several high-profile celebrities who were allegedly involved in questionable behavior. This footage could expose a side of Hollywood that many would prefer remained hidden.
Now, to the latest on the arrest of Sean Diddy Combs. This one has so many people talking. The disgraced music mogul facing federal racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking charges. Both the prosecution and defense teams are set to discuss the next phase of action following the indictment as investigators work to determine potential co-conspirators. But how exactly did we get here?
But how did Burgess acquire these flash drives? According to his testimony, they were given to him by none other than Kim Porter, Diddy's ex-partner and the mother of 3 of his children. Porter, who passed away in 2018, reportedly had knowledge of Diddy's darkest secrets, and according to Burgess, she entrusted him with the footage and documents shortly before she passed. This revelation alone has sent the rumor mill into overdrive, with many questioning whether Porter's passing was truly as innocent as it seemed. Was she trying to protect herself and her children by handing over this information? And what exactly is on these flash drives that could be so damaging? The flash drives, according to Burgess, contain recordings from Diddy's notorious parties, events that have long been whispered about in Hollywood circles. These gatherings, often held at Diddy's private homes, were said to be exclusive, invite-only affairs, attended by the biggest names in the business. But according to Burgess, what went on at these parties was far more than just the usual celebrity indulgence. He claims that the footage shows some of the most famous stars in the world engaging in questionable behavior, with some attendees allegedly unaware that they were being filmed. The recordings, Burgess says, depict actions that could ruin not only reputations, but entire careers.
I'm here today just to tell the truth, so hopefully we can get down to the bottom of this. I'm 100%, the charges against me are 100% false, and hopefully due to time, we'll start to see that.
It doesn't stop there. Burgess also claims that among the footage, there are clips involving underage individuals, which, if introduced into evidence, could lead to serious legal consequences for those involved. This alone has raised the stakes significantly in Diddy's upcoming trial, with legal experts already speculating on the potential fallout. If these tapes are admitted into court, the repercussions could be catastrophic, not just for Diddy, but for anyone implicated in the footage. And with rumors swirling that some of these celebrities are even more high-profile than Diddy himself, the tension in Hollywood is palpable.
It's a question of that, but when you read through the indictment, it's pretty clear who could be indicted as a co-conspirator. Right now, there are people in the indictment who would be considered unnamed co-conspirators, but clearly have played a role in this conspiracy. And I think prosecutors have some big leverage on them because they're hoping that they testify against Diddy as prosecution witnesses.
Adding fuel to the fire is the existence of a manuscript that Burgess claims to have in his possession, a manuscript allegedly written by Kim Porter before her passing. Titled Kim's Lost Words, A Journey for Justice from the Other Side, this document supposedly details Porter's experiences with Diddy and reveals shocking information about their relationship and the many dark secrets she uncovered during their time together. According to Burgess, the manuscript paints a picture of a woman who was deeply troubled by what she knew and was determined to expose the truth, even if it meant putting herself in danger.
Kim Porter, you know, that is Diddy's ex, who's also the mother of his 3 of his children.
Right.
has detailed the alleged abuse that she suffered at his hands.
Oh, no.
And this is all in a memoir.
And indeed, Porter's sudden passing in 2018 has taken on a new light in the wake of these allegations. At the time, her passing was attributed to natural causes, but rumors have since surfaced that there may have been more to the story. Burgess has suggested that Porter was becoming increasingly fearful in the months leading up to her passing, and that she may have been silenced before she could go public with what she knew. While there's no concrete evidence to support these claims, the timing of her demise, coupled with the contents of the manuscript, has raised eyebrows. What's even more unsettling is the fact that this manuscript briefly appeared on Amazon earlier this year but was quickly taken down after opposition from Diddy's children. It's unclear whether the manuscript was pulled due to legal pressure or if it was simply a matter of protecting the family's privacy, but the incident has only added to the intrigue surrounding Porter's story. Burgess, for his part, insists that the manuscript is authentic and that it contains vital information that could help bring Diddy's darkest secrets to light. But not everyone is convinced. Some of Porter's close friends, including Leanda Lane, have publicly denounced the manuscript and Burgess's claims, calling the whole thing a fabrication. Lane, who was reportedly very close to Porter, has stated that there is no way Porter would have written such a document, and that Burgess is simply trying to profit off of her memory. This has created a divide among those who knew Porter, with some supporting Burgess's version of events and others insisting that the manuscript is nothing more than a hoax.
Just with this Cassie thing, I didn't know her, but I knew somebody like her. And that was Kim Porter. I didn't know Cassie, but I knew somebody who was going through the same thing she was going through, and that was Kim Porter.
Still, the fact remains that Burgess's testimony, combined with the alleged existence of the flash drives in the manuscript, has created a firestorm of controversy. And with Diddy's trial set to begin in May 2025, there's no telling what other revelations might come to light in the coming months. Legal experts have already begun speculating on the potential impact of this evidence, with some suggesting that it could be a turning point in the case. If the tapes are deemed admissible, it could significantly strengthen the prosecution's case against Diddy and lead to even more charges being filed. As for Diddy's legal team, they've been on the defensive from the start, vehemently denying all of the allegations against him. They've argued that the accusations are part of a coordinated effort to bring Diddy down, and that Burgess is simply seeking attention and financial gain. But with the sheer weight of the allegations piling up, it's becoming harder for Diddy to maintain his innocence in the court of public opinion. And the fact that his legal team has already seen 2 high-profile lawyers step down from representing him hasn't exactly helped his case.
Thought Diddy would be throwing all his celebrity mates under the bus.
I mean, that could potentially be coming when it's time for court and when it's time for him to testify. But what we're seeing right now is how important public relations really are to Sean Combs. He's desperately trying to control the narrative behind bars, allowing his attorneys to do documentaries.
The public reaction to these allegations has been swift and fierce. Fans and critics alike have taken to social media to express their shock and disbelief, with many calling for accountability not just for Diddy, but for any other celebrities who may have been involved. The entertainment industry, which has long been shielded from the consequences of bad behavior, is now facing a reckoning, and Diddy's case could very well be the tipping point. The question now is whether these tapes will actually see the light of day and what the fallout will be if they do. The implications of this case go far beyond Diddy himself. If the allegations are true, it could expose a culture of secrecy and misconduct that has permeated Hollywood for decades. And with some of the biggest names in the industry rumored to be involved, the stakes couldn't be higher. As the grand jury continues to assess the evidence, all eyes are on Diddy and his legal team as they prepare for what promises to be one of the most explosive trials in recent memory.
This is very significant, just from who we associate Diddy being and everything we've seen him do over the decades. Like you said, this is quite the downfall to go from, I mean, we saw the mansions back in March that were raided by the feds. So to go from living in those mansions to being in a jail cell right now, I think it really underscores the magnitude of what he's facing and the weight of the federal government.
The upcoming months will be critical in determining how this case unfolds, with both sides gearing up for what is sure to be a lengthy and contentious legal battle. The grand jury's decision on whether to admit the tapes into evidence will likely be a turning point in the case and could set the tone for the entire trial. If the tapes are allowed, it could pave the way for more witnesses to come forward, potentially leading to even more damaging revelations. With so much at stake, it's no wonder Diddy's legal team is fighting tooth and nail to keep the tapes out of the courtroom. But as more and more details emerge, it's becoming increasingly difficult to keep a lid on the controversy. And with the public clamoring for answers, it seems only a matter of time before the truth comes out.
Hey, real quickly, all that commissary stuff, he's not getting any of that because people in the SHU have an abbreviated list. So he's out of luck. No stake for him. Yeah, he is on suicide watch. This guy thought he would have went home. All of a sudden, he didn't get bond. Remember, the first night that he was there, he was like an overnight guest.
As we wait for the trial to begin, one thing is clear. This is just the beginning of what could be a long and painful reckoning for Hollywood. Diddy's case has already exposed cracks in the entertainment industry's facade, and as more details come to light, those cracks could widen into a full-blown collapse. The question now is, how deep does the rabbit hole go, and who else might be caught in the fallout? This scandal has already captivated the public's attention, and with the trial still months away, there's no telling what other bombshells might drop between now and then. The grand jury's decision on the tapes will be critical, and it could very well determine the future of Diddy's career, and possibly the careers of several other high-profile celebrities. The stakes couldn't be higher, and as the tension builds, one can't help but wonder what else is hiding in the shadows of Hollywood's glittering facade.
Wait a minute. Say that again. Say that again. Back up. You're saying that there's tapes and they're being shopped?
Yes, there have been people already shopping.
We've heard about the tapes, but
yes.
The shopping thing is
yes, there already have been tapes leaking around Hollywood, being shopped around to individuals in Hollywood, but one particular person contacted me to shop a particular video they were in possession of.
The revelations from Burgess have already set off a chain reaction, and the question now is how far the dominoes will fall. Will Diddy be able to weather the storm, or will this be the scandal that finally brings him down? Only time will tell, but one thing is for sure. Hollywood will never be the same once the truth is revealed. As we move toward the trial date, the tension is only going to increase. Now, this is where things get even more interesting. What we're about to dive into is the web of secrets and scandal that has surrounded Diddy for years. And trust us, this goes way beyond the current investigation. The recent revelations from Burgess are shocking, no doubt, but honestly, they're just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Diddy's long and complicated history in Hollywood. There's a reason why so many people are holding their breath as this case unfolds, and it has everything to do with the stories we're about to unravel.
Civil lawsuit, Cassie said that she was the victim of abuse, sexual assault, and at the hands of Diddy.
For years, rumors have swirled around Diddy's infamous parties, the kind of gatherings that could make even the most seasoned celebrity feel like they're in over their head. These weren't just your average Hollywood get-togethers with champagne flowing and red carpets rolled out. No, these were something else entirely. Diddy's parties were known for their exclusivity, their secrecy, and, according to whispers in the industry, their wild, anything-goes atmosphere. But as more and more details come to light, it's becoming increasingly clear that the people who attended these parties may have been involved in far more than they bargained for. The thing is, these parties attracted some of the biggest names in the entertainment industry. We're talking about A-listers who are household names, actors, musicians, athletes, and even high-powered executives. And while the specifics of what went on behind closed doors have always been kept under wraps, there have been plenty of clues along the way. Take, for example, the famous freak-off parties that have been whispered about for years. According to sources, these events were anything but typical Hollywood soirees. They were over the top, extravagant, and, if the rumors are to be believed, downright scandalous.
So yesterday, Monday, Diddy celebrated his 55th birthday, but this year was a lot different. It was no Diddy parties. It was none of that. None of that stuff. Well, happily so, I guess, right now. But anyway, so this is his first birthday behind bars.
Now, with Burgess's testimony, it looks like those rumors may have been more than just idle gossip. If what he's saying is true, and if those flash drives really do contain footage from Diddy's parties, we could be looking at a bombshell that would shake Hollywood to its core. Burgess has hinted that the tapes show some of the most famous people on the planet engaging in behavior that, frankly, could ruin careers. And the worst part, some of those people may not have even known they were being recorded. Let's just pause for a minute and think about that. Imagine being one of the biggest stars in the world, attending a private party at Diddy's mansion, thinking you're in a safe, exclusive space, and then finding out years later that there's footage of you doing something that could tarnish your entire reputation. The fallout from something like that would be devastating. And according to Burgess, that's exactly what these tapes could do. We don't know who's on them yet, but he's hinted that it includes some of the most recognizable faces in the world, including a few who might be even more high profile than Diddy himself. That's why Hollywood is holding its breath right now. Because if these tapes come out, they could bring down not just one person, but an entire network of celebrities who have long been protected by their fame and fortune. The entertainment industry loves to close ranks when one of its own is in trouble, but if these allegations are true, there may be no way to spin this. We're talking about reputations that could be irreparably damaged, endorsements lost, and careers that could be destroyed overnight.
That he has a shrink coming by his cell to see him several times a day. And now there's talk about putting him in, it's like a bubble. It's like a cell that has like a plexiglass wall in it, where they have inmates watching you. That's actually their job, to keep an eye on the inmates that are on side watch.
And it's not just the A-listers who are worried. Diddy's parties weren't just attended by actors and musicians. They also drew in a mix of powerful people from all corners of the industry: executives, producers, investors, people who have a lot to lose if their names get dragged into this mess. You have to wonder how many people are scrambling to distance themselves from Diddy right now, hoping that their connections to him won't come back to haunt them. What's wild is that this isn't the first time we've heard about these kinds of allegations surrounding Diddy. Throughout his career, there have been countless stories of controversy and scandal, many of them involving violence and misconduct. Remember the infamous nightclub incident back in 1999 when Diddy and his then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez were caught in the middle of a shooting at a New York City club? That case caused a media frenzy, with Diddy's name plastered across headlines for months. He managed to walk away from that one relatively unscathed, but it was one of the first signs that his life behind the scenes wasn't as glamorous as it seemed.
This investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information about this case to come forward and to do it quickly.
Then there's the long-standing speculation about Diddy's involvement in the demises of two of hip-hop's biggest icons, Shakur and the notorious B.I.G. While Diddy has never been directly tied to either case, there are plenty of conspiracy theories that suggest he may have played a role, or at the very least had knowledge of what went down. The East Coast vs. West Coast rivalry that defined the 1990s rap scene was volatile, and at the center of it was Diddy's label, Bad Boy Records. Both Shakur and Biggie lost their lives in unsolved shootings that are still shrouded in mystery, and Diddy's name continues to come up in discussions about what really happened. So, when you think about it, the current allegations against Diddy aren't all that surprising. His life has been full of controversy for decades, and while he's managed to survive scandal after scandal after scandal after scandal, this time might be different. The stakes are higher than ever, and the evidence that's being brought forward is more damning than anything we've seen before.
To be expected, just the shock of this and the questions about what is ahead of us. I mean, how long is he going to be in custody? Is this an R. Kelly situation? Is he going to not get out for a number of years? Is he going to end up serving a long-term prison sentence from this? Or does he have a chance of beating these charges at a trial that could come, within the next 2 years?
One of the most troubling aspects of this whole situation is the involvement of celebrities who may not have known they were being recorded. According to Burgess, Diddy had hidden cameras throughout his homes, capturing footage of his guests without their consent. If this is true, it's a huge invasion of privacy, and it raises serious legal questions. Not only could Diddy face charges for recording people without their knowledge, but anyone who appears on those tapes could potentially sue him for damages. It's a legal nightmare waiting to happen, and it could drag out for years as more people come forward to claim they were victims of this surveillance. The potential fallout from all of this is massive. Even if the tapes never see the light of day, the mere existence of them is enough to send shockwaves through the industry. Celebrities and executives alike are undoubtedly scrambling to figure out how deep their connections to Diddy go and what, if anything, might come back to bite them. And with the trial still months away, there's no telling how much worse things could get.
But that's Kim's story. That's Kim's book. That's Kim's book. Then you hear about the fact that he broke Kim's nose on a yacht?
Wow, I didn't hear about that.
And let's not forget about the manuscript that Burgess says he has in his possession. If it's real, it could provide even more damning evidence against Diddy. According to Burgess, the manuscript details Porter's experiences with Diddy and includes shocking revelations about his behavior. If this document is introduced in court, it could corroborate Burgess's claims and paint a picture of Diddy that is far darker than anything we've seen before. Hollywood has always been a place where secrets are kept behind closed doors, but it seems like those doors are starting to crack open. What's happening with Diddy right now could be a turning point for the industry, one that forces people to reckon with the truth about what goes on in the shadows. For years, powerful people have been able to get away with things that would ruin the lives of ordinary folks, all because of their fame and influence. But as more and more of these stories come to light, it's becoming harder to hide behind that fame.
What his team is trying to do is get the public to assume that the government is leaking some of this negative information about him, like that Cassie video. But the reality is, he's got a lot of enemies, and I really don't.
What's fascinating about this case is how it's exposing not just Diddy, but the entire system that has allowed people like him to operate unchecked for so long. If the allegations are true, it's not just Diddy who's guilty, it's the whole culture of silence and complicity that has protected him and others like him. And that's why this case is so important. It's not just about one man's downfall. It's about shining a light on an entire industry and forcing it to answer for the things that have been swept under the rug for decades. As we look ahead to Diddy's trial in 2025, there are still so many unanswered questions. Will the tapes be admitted into evidence? Will more celebrities come forward with their own stories? And most importantly, will Hollywood finally be held accountable for the things it's tried so hard to keep hidden? One thing's for sure, this is a story that's far from over. Every day, new details emerge, and with each revelation, the picture becomes a little clearer. What started as a scandal involving one man has turned into something much bigger, something that could change the entertainment industry forever. And as we wait for the next chapter to unfold, one can't help but wonder, how many more secrets are still out there waiting to be exposed? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the latest updates on this ever-evolving story.